My wonderful guest today, Marsha Sims. So first I'll say hi to everyone watching. If you're watching live, if you're watching recorded, my name is Dr. Rock. That is spelled R-A-K, pronounced R-O-C-K. I am a internal medicine and lifestyle medicine physician. I am the lead physician at Rock Your Life, RAKYOURLIFE. You can find us at rockyourlife.com. This is where I help people take control of their health and live the life that they always imagined for themselves. And that is why I have Marsha on today. Marsha Sims. I'm going to have you say hello to everyone in a moment, but I'll just say Marsha and I met, was it May? Maybe it was in April.
Yeah, probably May.
Probably May.
Early
Yeah,
May. Yeah.
that's right. And I have been your lifestyle medicine doctor since that time. And I have been incredibly inspired by your journey and the changes you've made and the impact that it has had on your health. And so that is why I wanted you to come on to share with others so that you might inspire others as well.
Well, I am so excited to be here for so many reasons. I mean, I'm excited to be here because it's working. So I'm more excited than it's working because that's the most important thing. But I'm also excited to be here to tell people how wonderful you are. You are my favorite doctor of all time. You know that's true. Because I'm not a doctor person. I basically don't like doctors. I don't like the paternalistic attitude. I don't like the fact that they're in control of your life. I don't like the fact that you have to beg for medicine or for reduction of medicine, either one. I don't like the fact that they make mistakes and then they blame you. I just don't like the whole medical thing. I don't like the fact that hospitals have become a major industry. I think there's something fundamentally wrong with our
I hear that, Marsha. Yeah, when we first met, you told me right away.
Yeah, I don't
This,
like it.
I don't have a good experience
No,
with doctors,
no.
and
Generally, I pick the short straw when it comes to doctors. So I'm
mm,
not
mm,
I don't like doctors in general. But you're not like that. I mean, for one thing, you listen. And that is what I needed the most. And I think that most people need that. You know, I've had doctors run in the room and say, I'm going to change your medication and you're going to do this and this and this, and then they run out. Well,
mm.
I've had a lot of bad experiences. I tell you them every time, but
It's true.
you're just amazing. You listen,
Mm,
you
mm,
respond, you say something that makes sense that I can use in my life. You give me
mm,
things to do outside of just being sick and scared.
mm,
Doctors like to make you scared. People take all this medicine because they're scared. Ultimately, you're scared you're going to die. I mean, that's just human nature. You're going to be scared of that. And doctors play on it.
mm,
So you're not like that at all. You're
mm,
supportive, you listen, you're kind, you really care about people, and it
mm.
comes out. So I'm honored to be here to tell
Oh,
people you are fantastic. And I tell them anyway, but
wow.
now I'm saying it on media.
I was not. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so kind of you, Marsha.
No,
Thank
it's
you.
it's it's true.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you saying that, and I think this is a strong belief of mine that healthcare, when it focuses on health, it's also focusing on those relationships and the relationships with the people you care for. And this is why I often become friends with my patients. And you wonder, what is wrong with that? Friend means it's someone I care about, someone I know about. I've taken the time to get to know them, and there's that connection. So I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Well, when we met, you had a bit of a scare. You want to tell people about that?
Yeah, I had just come out of the hospital. I didn't know what was wrong with me because I didn't believe I was going to ever get sick because I have always been someone who paid attention to what I eat. I don't eat everything, or if I do, I don't eat a lot of it. I try to pay attention. I have done it all. I've been on every diet they make. I've been a raw vegan. I've been a vegan. I've been a vegetarian. I've been a pescatarian. I have been on paleo. I've been on keto. I've done everything. I've done
Yeah.
every diet I ever knew about
Mm,
because I thought, I was going to find the perfect diet for my
mm,
health.
mm,
What I didn't do was go exercise in a gym, but I walked 6,000 steps a day. I paid attention to my health. I watched my weight. I did all that. So I thought I was going to be fine. And I started having this thing where I couldn't breathe. Like I couldn't get enough air. And I didn't know what that was. So I thought, well, I had gone to the youth fair and I ate bad food with my son, and I thought it was that. And I thought, maybe I'm not drinking enough water. Like I thought everything but that it could possibly be heart disease because I thought, surely I'm not going to have that problem because
mm,
I did what I knew to do to take care of it,
mm,
I thought. But, you can't outrun a lot of things.
mm,
You can't outrun all the plastics. You can't outrun the fluoride in the water. There's things you can't outrun. And, you know, I stayed away from doctors, so because I don't like doctors. So because of that, I
mm,
wasn't monitoring properly. And I was playing with cutting medicine down on my own, which
mm.
was not a smart thing to do. In hindsight, of course. So I
Now, Marsha, what medicines were you on? Like, not specifically, but what kind of medical conditions had you
I was
developed?
I had high blood pressure. And I have had high blood pressure since my kids were young. But I kept thinking I was managing it, and I refused to let them keep increasing my medicine, so I kept cutting it back.
Mm,
And so I ended up going to get I had a medical exam. I had another birthday, and everybody said, it's about time you should go do a checkup. So I went to do a checkup, just a simple little thing. And when I went to get the results, I was telling them that I was having this breathing thing. I said everything, and my results were really good. My numbers were pretty good, and everything. Nothing was alarming. Nothing went in the red zone. And I even went to Chat GPT to find out, what does this mean and what does that mean? Because I had no doctor to call, right? I had
mm,
to go on outside sources. And so I thought I was doing great, but I told them about this little breathing thing. Every now and then I couldn't get enough oxygen. So she said, "Well, let me do a, a EKG."
mhm,
And they did an EKG, and as I was breathing, my heart went brrr, and it just did it one time. But they panicked and they said, "You need to go straight to the hospital. Don't
mm.
stop and get food. Don't go home and get things. Just go." And I wasn't gonna go. But my daughter-in-law said, "Your sons are terrified. Just go. If nothing's wrong, then you'll go home. If
Mhm.
something's wrong, you'll be in the right place." And I got there and I was trying to get inside and I wasn't able to get enough air. And when I
Mm.
got to the machine where you sign in, where you sit to wait 6 hours, I something came across the bottom that said, if you're having trouble breathing, don't fill out the form, go straight to the security guy. And I could hardly
Oh,
get
wow.
to him. I couldn't breathe. And I got to him and I said, "It says, if you can't breathe, to tell you." And he said, "Wait right here." He even let me sit in his chair because you're not
Oh
supposed
my
to go
god.
anywhere near the security guard.
Yeah, that is the patient who comes in who, you just go straight to
Yeah,
bay 7, do not pass go, like,
that's
yeah.
right. That's right. So he said,
Okay.
"Wait
So
right
you end up in the hospital,
for
unable, gasping for air, and they stabilize you. What was going on with your heart?
My heart rate was really fast. It was like 135 beats a minute. And my blood pressure was sky high. It was like 190 over 100.
Mm.
So they decided that they should keep me. And they kept me for 4 days. And they did a procedure that I finally let them do. And they finally prescribed a bunch of medicine,
Mhm.
which was way more than I needed because I don't need that much because I've never
Well,
really done medicine. Well, I thought I did.
Marsha, okay, just for our listeners, I wanna say that, medications absolutely have utility and place, and really, really grateful that we have so many medications. I think what you're getting at now you have an aversion to medications,
Yeah.
which sure, I mean, but I think what your frustration came from and when we started working together was that it was always medication first. It was never, "What are you eating? How are you
Never,
moving your body?"
never.
That conversation never came up. Even though, as we'll get to, like, these things have dramatically affected your blood pressure to the point where you now safely have come off most of your medication. So we'll get there, we'll get there, but you're in the hospital, rightfully, I'm gonna say, Marsha, they put you on medication. Someone comes in with blood pressure that high, you
Yeah.
have to control it, and even if someone was talking about lifestyle changes, those aren't gonna work overnight, and so,
Right.
I know you felt like it was too much,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it was probably appropriate at the time, but
Yes. And some of the nurses got really mad because I wouldn't take all that stuff. And before I would take anything, I would read the side effects and all. I mean, I was a terrible patient. So finally, they let me out with, I say a bag of medicine, and that's not literally what it was. And I was really trying to cooperate, but they couldn't hear me. They couldn't hear me.
Mm,
Like you said, nobody asked me anything. They made assumptions that were not true.
mm,
One doctor said, "Well, the
mm,
reason you have heart disease is because your arteries are stiff." Well, how does he know? He never tested. He just walked in and he made that assumption.
mm,
I've heard all kinds of stuff. I've heard the reason you have, like, one of a cardiologist said to me, the reason you have high blood pressure is because it's hereditary. Oh
mm,
no, that's not why I have high blood pressure.
mm,
Or the reason somebody else said, like I've been told the reason you have high blood pressure is because you're black. And all black people have high blood pressure.
mm,
I've been told all kind of nonsense.
mm,
That's insane. If
yeah,
black people in Africa, they don't
mm,
have high blood pressure.
yeah,
So something's different. So I just couldn't go with that. So then I met you. And so then I started looking for doctors. Okay,
right,
that was why it took a month for me to find you.
yeah,
And I
yes.
started looking and looking, and
Yes.
it was a terrible journey. So I spent
Mm.
a lot of
Yeah,
time,
that's right. You went and saw a lot of people,
I've
uh,
seen a
in
lot.
person, some online.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
okay. You didn't know
and
what you were searching for.
right. And so finally, I lucked into you. As a matter of fact, it was really luck because they gave me a list. They said, you can pick from one of these doctors. And I read all the details about every single doctor on that list. And
Mm,
I selected you. And
mm, mm,
I was just lucky. I think there was a divine hand in that because how could I have
mm,
found you? You know,
mm, mm,
you have been the best
mm,
doctor I have ever been to. Even personal friends of mine who are doctors don't compare to it. And I have personal friends that I would call. And I have cousins who are pharmacists and who are competent. And I have in-laws who are pharmacists, they're competent. I stack you on top of all of them.
oh, wow.
And I mean that. I
Okay.
mean it. It's true.
Yeah, ve the you're you're very kind. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Appreciate you saying
And
that.
and everybody who sees this, who knows me or has worked with me, knows that I'm pretty straightforward and I'm pretty direct. And I call it like I see it
Mm,
because
mm,
my belief is in my work, I believe I can't help people unless I tell them the truth.
yes.
So I practice telling people the truth. I try to be tactful, of course,
Mm,
but I don't believe in not telling people the truth.
okay. I love that you're making sure everyone knows that all the sweet things you're saying about me are 100% true. No, I really
And
appreciate that, Marsha.
and in my
What I
opinion,
wanna know, though, is, like, take me back to when you were hospitalized. Like, what did the lifestyle look like then? You know, how were you eating? How were you moving? How were you managing stress?
okay, I was eating pretty much anything I wanted to eat, but I limited what I wanted to eat. So I would go to nice restaurants and eat whatever I wanted, but I didn't go to fast food and that kind of thing anymore.
Sure.
I don't own sugar in my house anymore, like white granulated sugar. But I do eat. I'll have honey, maple syrup, and agave. Rarely, because you're not really supposed to eat
So
agave.
at this time, this was last spring, you were basically like the way you were looking at food was you were limiting your portions, but you were
Oh,
eating kind of what you wanted. Is that and
and
some things like not gonna have refined sugar, but
yeah, and I was playing with different diets. Like
right,
I
you
I
mentioned
was
that.
playing with
Oh, yeah,
vegan.
you mentioned
And then,
keto. Like, what was your experience on the keto diet?
okay, the first
I'm
time I went
curious.
on the keto diet, I had a fantastic experience
Okay,
with some minor exceptions. So
okay.
with keto, I lost all the weight I wanted to lose. I
Mm,
went down to my college weight, which I had
mm,
wanted to do my whole life.
mm,
I looked fabulous and I loved the food, but I had muscle cramps that were disturbing, and I stayed constipated, which
mm.
I'm told is a byproduct. Those two things can happen. And I could never get a handle on it because if I could have, I probably would have stayed on keto. And I
Mm,
found it easy. And I was
mm,
surprised that I found it easy, but
mm.
it was easy because I had
And
been on.
when and can I ask when were you on this and what was your what was your blood pressure like? Or were you checking it?
It was 140 over 90-ish. It was probably right around there on my
Okay.
blood pressure machine, which I
Okay.
have come to discover is not the best for me to do.
Okay. So, okay. So trying different diets at this point,
Yeah,
get in the hospital, get out of the hospital, spend a month kind of looking. What were you looking for? I know you found me, and I'm so glad you did. But like what were you looking for? I think I remember when we first met, you said you told me, you said, I have done raw vegan in the past. And it has really benefited me. Like I felt really good.
yeah.
We talked about that. I don't know. Get and kind of yeah, talk about how you've transitioned your diet now and maybe some of the other lifestyle changes you've made.
Okay. So you want me to go to now, or you want me to do the
Well,
journey?
back then, I mean, I think a lot of the changes what was kind of what was the transition like? Because you went from, like you said, not exercising really. Maybe you were walking 6,000 steps a day, but you weren't doing any intentional
Right,
resistance training, for example,
right,
or yeah.
right.
And your diet, like you said, was not necessarily
Uh,
contained, right? It was all
yeah,
sorts of different foods.
yeah. At that point, I was probably what you could call a flexitarian, meaning
Mhm.
I ate anything I wanted. I just didn't overdo it on any
Okay.
one thing.
Okay.
So but I would never go in the gym. I just couldn't get around to it.
That's
I
right.
I knew it in the back of my mind. I knew I should, but I couldn't get around to it. And I so my food wasn't anything that would sustain health, in my opinion. Now, as I look back, and I wasn't exercising other than walking, and I thought that would be enough, and it wasn't enough.
Well, and so, yeah, all of that is true, but I remember when we first met, and you've already said it, your very, very, very strong desire not to be on blood pressure medicine.
Yes,
And the hospitalization was making you sort of reconcile the fact that, oh, I need to control my blood pressure.
right.
And how do I reconcile my need, my real legitimate need, like so that I can be alive in this world, to
Yeah.
control my blood pressure and take care of my heart with my desire not to be on medications. And I think the conclusion you came to and how you found me then was I really need to go all in on making lifestyle changes.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Because at that point, coming out of the hospital, I had to make a decision. And the decision was, am I going to stay on medicine for the rest of my life? And it doesn't stay stable because they keep increasing it and increasing it and increasing it because you're not getting well. They're just masking the symptoms.
Yeah.
And the symptoms are trying to get out, so they have to keep adding more medicine to mask the symptoms.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be in that, in
That
that.
is true. That is true, Marsha. Most of the medications we use, they don't treat the underlying disease.
Right.
And if they did, we wouldn't have more chronic disease than we've ever had in human history and
That's
more medications than we've ever had in human history.
that's
The
right.
medications don't treat the disease. They mitigate the symptoms and also like the end effects of the disease.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So what happens is they mask the symptoms so you think you're okay, but you're not. That's why you have to keep getting monitored because you're not okay. I have a fundamental belief that the body's a self-healing machine, and if I
Mhm.
do the right things, that I can heal. But I needed somebody who would work with me. And every doctor that I said, "Can you help me heal my heart?" They thought that was ridiculous. Even to the point that my cardiologist told me that he's on blood pressure medicine. Now, I had already read that 75% of Americans die from heart disease, and 75% of cardiologists also die from heart disease. So that tells me they don't really know. I mean, they know a lot of stuff, but they don't know how to fix this problem.
Well, the former president of the American College of Cardiology, Kim Williams, is famous for saying, there's two types of cardiologists. There's vegans, and then there's those who haven't read the research.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, we have decades of research in
Yeah,
all sorts of arenas that show benefit for cardiovascular health. And I wouldn't say, I mean, I don't say you have to become vegan. I don't think anyone has to become vegan.
right,
I think it comes from eating the bulk of your diet, eating antioxidant rich plant food in
right,
all different varieties. And if that becomes the bulk of your diet, 95% of your diet, we have a lot of evidence to show that that is very, very beneficial for your vasculature, for your heart.
right.
And that's we'll go on. So you made big changes to your diet. You went from
Oh,
eating
yeah,
kind of all sorts of things to
right.
how are you eating now? I know you sometimes go raw, but in general, you're eating mostly what we call whole food plant-based diet, correct?
Yeah, well, what I'm eating now is predominantly raw, but when I cook anything, it's whole food plant-based. So I'm kind of mixing the two, sort of, but more raw actually than the other. I started out trying to do the whole food plant-based thing, but I can't eat beans. I'm convinced of that. So I'm trying to figure out how can I eat beans? Like maybe I'll do hummus, but
Yeah.
to cook beans and eat them doesn't work for me. So, but doing raw, I find comfortable because it's not hard to do. And raw is whole food plant-based.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just
I
not
hear
cooked.
you. Yeah,
So
and you really enjoy it. I think I want to emphasize this point is like as you make changes to your diet, as anyone makes changes to their diet, really focusing on that enjoyment. You know what I have my patients and clients do is when we start off, I have them write down their favorite vegetables and their
yes, you
favorite fruits and their
yep,
favorite kind of bean and their
that's right.
favorite grain and then they have a list, and I'm like, "Okay, let's make recipes and simple things you can put together using
Yep.
this list."
Yes,
Because then you're eating the things you like.
that's right. That's right. So yeah, I know you do that.
Yeah,
But the most important
it's
thing
fun.
of that is you listen to people
Mm,
and you ask them, what do they like?
mm.
So I don't even want to tell you how many doctors I've seen since April. It's embarrassing for me and the medical profession.
I know
And,
you've seen a lot of doctors. You've
and
seen a lot of doctors.
yeah, and
Seen a lot of
you are
doctors.
the only one who has asked me a question about me. You're the only one. They don't
Mm.
ask you anything. And I'm sure all the people who watch this video will
There
agree.
are many, many, many. I would say I'm going to say this just because I believe it. All the people in healthcare right now. They are working really, really hard and doing the best they
They are.
can.
They are.
Yeah, it is a tough time to be. It's always been a tough time, but
That's right. And it's
yeah,
thankless, and they don't have enough support, and all that's true. But when you are the sick person and you're
I hear you.
going to an expert because you are sick, which means you're also scared,
I hear you.
they need to stop and understand that you're not you're not just a number. And I don't think that has gotten across. And they have
Mhm.
so many patients, and they're so busy, and it's just scary.
Mm,
It's just scary. So, from the point of view of the doctor, yeah, I get it. But from the point of view of myself as a patient,
mhm,
I want to feel like I'm a human being, like
mm.
somebody cares about the fact that I'm willing to do whatever they tell me to do to get well. Not, yeah, 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 we'll just double this prescription. Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah, yeah, take this. I had a doctor who I told him something I was not going to take because I was having side effects. And
mm,
so he wrote down the generic form of it because he knew I wouldn't know what that was. Yeah, they're not listening.
mm. Marsha. And let's talk about the positive changes you have made. So you started going to the gym. I hear you, and I just want to say one last thing about that is that, it's correctly been labeled by Wendy Dean as moral injury, that doctors are experiencing what we call moral injury, that so many people who went into healthcare, why? Because they wanted to help people, they wanted to heal,
Yeah,
and that the system doesn't allow them to do that. The
that's right.
system doesn't allow them to do that. I know too many people in healthcare that feel that frustration or that the system is working against them. The
That's
system,
right.
like, and so, there is a reckoning, there is a need for change in healthcare. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why so many people um, I connect with through my professional society, the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, are leading the change to change our healthcare system. It's really a paradigm shift because we're
Mhm,
talking about a system that's based on relationships and doing what is best interest and in the kind of vision for the patient,
mhm,
and aligning their values with the healthcare.
mhm.
And that's unfortunately very different than the system we have right now.
Well, yeah, because it's probably not as profitable. And
Yeah, and we
so,
can get into all sorts of reasons why that is, but
yeah,
I want you to tell us. So you didn't work out at the gym before, but now how you're going to the gym
almost every day.
almost every day now. Okay.
Yeah, my
You
son,
love it?
I do now.
You do now,
I do
right?
now. I look
Why do
forward
you
to
love
it.
it?
Why?
Yeah,
Okay, so here's what my son helped me out. I have to give him credit.
good.
We went in the gym, and he created a simple workout for me. I think at that time, I had like 5 things. Where's the camera? 5 things on my workout. And they were easy enough that I could go in the gym, do these 5 things, and then I could leave.
Mhm.
But he walked me around the gym and he said, see all the people on the treadmill and the cardio and all, they were doing treadmill, they were doing elliptical, they were doing the bicycles and all that. He said, look how they look. And you see them. Then he said, okay, let's go to the other side. And we went to the other side where people were working on the weights.
Mhm.
And he said, okay, look how these people look. And the difference is staggering. Like the people who are doing weights, they look gorgeous. They have these gorgeous bodies. The men look everybody looks beautiful, like Adonises. And so I said, well, this is the side I want to be
This
on.
is the side I wanna look like that. Oh, that's very
Yeah.
interesting.
So when I'm there lifting weights, struggling with 5 pounds, it's not that bad anymore.
Mm.
But when I'm doing that and I'm looking in the mirror, you know
Yeah.
that the thing you see where see this kitten looking in the mirror and what the kitten sees is a lion.
Mm.
Well, that's how I'm looking.
Mm.
I look at that and I say, if I do what they're doing, I'm going to look like that. And
Mm.
granted, I may not exactly look like that, but I'll look a lot better than I look right now.
Yeah.
Because where you don't want to be obese, you also don't want to be too thin. You
That's
want to
right.
look good, you want to look muscular. So I'm motivated by that. And there was an old lady on YouTube who posted her video. It was, this is how I looked a year ago, and this is how I look now. And she was an old lady, and I thought, wow.
Mm.
So those two things keep me inspired. So I go to the weight side and I
I love it.
struggle and I lift the weights and I look at that lion
All
in the
right. So strength training going to the gym most days, strength training, eating a whole food plant-based diet, actually mostly raw, but a whole food plant-based diet. And I had instructed you, I think, on a little bit of breath work. And I don't know if you're
yes,
still doing that.
less than more, but I haven't forgotten it. I still have
Right.
your notes and I look through the
There you
notes.
go.
And
That's
the
right.
other thing you did
Oh,
that
and
was,
the smoothie.
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
The smoothie, where we
Yes,
specifically chose ingredients, all whole plant ingredients
that's right.
that have been shown to help
Help with
lower the
heart
blood
disease.
pressure.
Yeah,
Exactly. And now we're, how many months later from the hospitalization? It's 9
May.
months, right?
Yes, 7. Oh, April, wait, May, June, July,
Oh, it
August.
was May. Okay.
8
Okay.
months. 8
8
months.
months. 8
Yeah,
months.
it's
Okay.
been 8 months.
8 months, and I've been working with you for about 6 or 7 months. And and we have you on, at this point, I would say, very, very small doses of 2 medications.
Yes.
You would like to have stopped them last week, or last month, or last year,
Yes.
and we're doing it very slowly because we wanna make sure that your
Yeah.
blood pressure is controlled, which it has been. What has your blood pressure been? Now you're checking at the gym every time you go, on their kind of better grade cuff, and it's getting
Right.
recorded because I think your gym is associated with your
It's a
hos it's
hospital.
a hospital, right.
Yeah,
So
so they
what
can.
is the blood pressure now reading?
The last time I was there, it was 122/68,
Okay.
which
And
is
you've told me it's mostly in the 110s, to 120s,
yeah,
and which is exactly where we want it to be, and you're not having any symptoms of lightheadedness, and you
nothing.
feel great, and you're strength training, and you're eating this way, and I know, and you're traveling. I think you just went on an international trip,
Yes.
and you're still working. So
Yeah.
how does last closing thought, like, how does this life feel to you compared to where you were 8 months ago? And if 8 months ago, or I mean 9 months ago, before that happened, what would you say to the person who was feeling pretty good, and kind of minding what they eat and walking, and wasn't worried, and maybe didn't have that motivation that you had after the hospitalization to make these changes?
Okay. Here's the thing. You're okay until the day that you're not. And on that day, your whole world crashes and your whole world changes. So I was walking through life thinking I was fine, but I
Mhm,
wasn't. And on the day that my world crashed, I was floundering. I didn't know what to do.
mhm.
So programs like yours are vital for people who kind of know they're kind of okay and maybe not, and they don't want to get worse. I think if I had known what I know now, I should have been in your program probably a year ago. And then I never would have had to
Didn't exist, but yeah, I hear you.
you know,
Yeah,
because
something like it. Yeah, yeah, you should
yeah,
have found, but you found me at the right time when you
well, when I
finally
needed
did,
you the most,
when
yeah,
you needed me the most. Yeah.
yeah. But it's harder to come back from an illness. It's easier to just not get it. And I think had I been in a program like yours, where I could have a group where I could go and listen and learn how to do some things for myself and
Mhm.
do the smoothies and get
That's right.
solid into whole food plant based and have other people, because that's the other thing that we leave out that I want to address. But
Yeah.
that is so important, because then you're not alone. Because when you try to change your diet, everybody resists. Like at Thanksgiving,
That's right.
people would say to me, well, just try this. One thing won't kill you.
Yeah.
It's not the one thing, it's the
Right.
slippery slope. It's
Mhm.
the, I'll taste this, and then I'll taste this with the butter in it, and then I'll just taste this little piece of ham, and then it's the slippery slope. And
Yeah.
then, you know, you need a group of people that are supporting
That's
you to stay
Yes,
strong.
this is why, yeah. So with Rock Your Life, I
Yeah,
run tribes. They're
that's right.
tribes and they're health coaching groups.
Yeah.
And it's really an opportunity for people who are on their health journey and are working and really value their health and working to be a better version of themselves, to commune and connect with people who are also on that journey, who are hearing you, supporting you, celebrating with you, mourning with you.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that is a fundamental human need to
Yeah.
connect on that level.
And like the fun things, like when I discovered a brand new recipe for salad dressing,
Yeah.
like I was so
Who do I
excited.
share this with? Right.
Yeah,
It's like nobody I know
that's
cares.
right.
I
Because
know.
I
I
called
know.
my sister and she said,
Yeah.
why would I make a salad dressing? I'll just go buy it. See, but I needed something with no oil, right? And you need people in your tribe that you can talk to. And that's so,
Margie, you've just been incredibly, incredibly inspiring for me to see your transformation, to see how you've embraced these changes and now just love them, how they've really transformed the experience of your life and you're not going back. It's not like the diets you were on before. You did a lot of diet shopping for
right,
many years.
right,
This is different. This is, wow, I feel whole, I feel complete. And you said it best when you said our body has this innate, amazing ability to come back into balance and to
right.
heal itself if we give it the right environment.
And support.
So,
And
all
support.
right.
You need
Thank
support.
you so much. Thank you for everyone who watched live and everyone who watched recorded. Again, I'm Dr. Rock. You can find out more about how to work with me and sign up for my weekly newsletter at rockyourlife.com. And Marsha, thank you so much for coming on. Really
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
you.
you for asking me, because I tell everybody I know about you. But this way, I could I could tell
Right.
more people this way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, this is recorded for posterities.
yeah, wonderful.
Ah, all right. And oh, we have one comment from someone watching on LinkedIn. From Jane says, you inspire so much, Rock. Oh, I'm a pharmacist based in the UK,
Oh, wow.
and I'm so keen to delve deeper into lifestyle medicine too, but honestly feel so clueless how to get started.
See,
Jane, if you're on LinkedIn, just you can send me a message on LinkedIn and I'll connect with you. And I would love to point you in the right direction for
yeah.
all sorts of resources. You have an amazing society of lifestyle medicine in the United Kingdom. So it'd be good to connect with them. And I will see you back here next week. We're here every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And it's a pleasure. Thank you. And Marsha, let's do Rock Your Life, Rock, fist bump, Rocky Mountain fist bump. You go up to the camera.
All
There
right.
you go. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great day.